Hey, welcome to a new video. A man from the Czech Republic was digging in his backyard one day when he suddenly bumped into a metal object with his shovel. He continued digging, and eventually it turned out he had found an antique church bell that had been stolen a decade ago and hidden underground. Investigators discovered that the bells were more than 350 years old and had been recovered in very good condition. The bells were eventually returned to the church, and you can hear them ringing today. Are you new to this channel? Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And before we start, also like the video. Originally, before he was making history, James Bristol thought he had found an old fence post. In reality, he found the discovery of the century, because on his soybean farm near Chelsea in Michigan, USA, lie a creature that had remained undiscovered for thousands of years. Even stranger was when experts found out upon investigation that the woolly mammoth did not pass away peacefully. It's thought to have gone extinct about 11,000 and 15,000 years ago. In April 2022, a farmer in the Gaza Strip stumbled upon a remarkable artifact that would reveal a glimpse into the ancient past. While working his land in the east of Khan Yunis, the man made an extraordinary discovery. He found a 4,500-year-old statue of Anat, the revered goddess of love, beauty, and war from Canaanite mythology. Anat's depiction with a snake as a crown suggests a deep connection to the goddess Athena, the Greek deity of war, who's often surrounded by snakes. The statue, made of limestone, is estimated to date back to 2500 BC for Nadal. This discovery had deep historical significance, affirming the rich heritage of the Palestinian people in this land and its Canaanite origins. Driven by a deep sense of connection, he decided not to sell the precious piece. The name Canaan carries historical weight and appears in ancient Egyptian writings dating back to the 15th century BC, as well as in the Old Testament. These texts refer to lands encompassing parts of modern-day Syria. Israel, Jordan, and Palestinian territories, where the worship of local deities and local temples was prevalent. This next video is another reason why you better stay away from the sewer. After all, creepy creatures can be hiding anywhere. Some people think this creature is the rake, who's been hiding in the sewers. Imagine finding the biggest snake you've ever seen. This group stumbled upon such a scene. Only fortunately, it was hibernating. In case you didn't know, snakes go into hibernation. The inactive state they adopt is called brumation and is attributed to their cold-blooded nature. The more the temperature drops, the slower they become, and the more they seek shelter. Places for snakes to hide are holes, caves, tree stumps, or an underground space where they can stay warm. Yet, that doesn't mean they stay asleep completely. In fact, snakes in brumation are known to come out to be in the sunlight. Two amateur historians wouldn't stop looking for a 350-year-old lost stone, even after 18 years of trying, but they finally found it. The two had to follow ancient documents to track down and find the stone. It's believed that the stone is super old and dates back to the year 2500 BC. It was also a huge shock when the stone was found, and they barely recognized it at first because it was completely under the grass. These YouTubers certainly aren't afraid of anything. They went into the sewers one day because they knew a creature lived there, and they decided to investigate. Although their exploration didn't end successfully because they didn't find anything, we have to at least give them credit for being brave enough to go so deep into the sewer. A mysterious creature with the characteristics of both a monkey and a bat was captured on video feasting on a goat in Indonesia. However, when it starts moving, its peculiar nature becomes even clearer. It gives the impression of being primarily aquatic, adding to the terror of its existence if this creature is indeed real. At first glance, one might mistake it for a giant bat, but its enormous size and oversized head dispel this notion. What is truly intriguing is its long, thin, hook-like hands, which allow it to hold onto the goat firmly and bite from underneath, making it nearly impossible to escape. The farmers managed to remove the creature from the goat and chase it into the water, a scene more terrifying than most horror movies. The creature exhibits movements that suggest it tends to avert its eyes from bright light, adding to its enigmatic nature. Some people speculate that it could be a type of leech-like creature that has adapted to terrestrial environments. Remarkably, it also has fur. Few people know this, but since 2008, drinking in London underground has been strictly prohibited. But if we go back in time, a century ago, there were about 30 pubs on London Underground stations, and it was very popular to have a drink there. Some pubs were located in the ticket halls, and others on the platforms. The mysterious thing is that the pubs somehow managed to escape the introduction of permit hours during World War II. They wanted to prevent workers from drinking during their lunch break, but the pubs remained open. The Terracotta Army is one of the world's most spectacular discoveries ever. It's a collection of sculptures showing the armies of Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor of China. These soldiers were made of clay in the belief that they would accompany the emperor on his journey to the afterlife. According to sources, the collection consists of more than 8,000 soldiers, 130 chariots, 670 horses, and other non-military figures such as acrobats, musicians, and strongmen. What makes its story even more worthwhile is that it was discovered completely by accident. In 1974, a group of local farmers in Lintong district were digging a well during a terrible drought. While digging, the archaeologists discovered, to their surprise, pieces of clay figures. And as they dug further and further, they finally found the Terracotta Army. If we're talking about digging in your own backyard, most countries don't allow this, but only to a certain depth. But that's what a man from the Egyptian city of Giza did. He started digging a 10-foot deep hole in his backyard and ended up in a tunnel. This tunnel led all the way from the Great Pyramid of Khufu. Although illegal, this was an incredible discovery. Archaeologists have been looking for it for decades. It would have been written in ancient Egyptian writings that a tunnel connects to a temple somewhere near the River Nile. The Egyptian government is rather secretive, and forbids people except for a few archaeologists to explore. So unfortunately, I couldn't go any further about this. But the fact that there's miles of tunnels buried underground makes you wonder what they were used for. In the heart of vast farmlands in the eastern province of Zhejiang in China lies a village with a fascinating and somewhat dangerous secret. Zixiqiao Village, also known as the Snake Village, has gained notoriety for its thriving snake trade, generating significant income for the local community. The village is home to cobras, vipers, and pythons, many of which are venomous. It all began in the 1980s when a farmer named Yang Hongchang started selling snakes he caught in the area to animal traders. Concerned about depleting the wild snake population, he began researching how to breed snakes at home. Today, more than 3 million snakes are bred annually in the village by the 160 farming families, generating millions of dollars. Snakes have long been recognized for their medicinal properties in traditional Chinese medicine. They are often used in the form of soups or wines believed to boost immunity. Snake products, including snakes and snake-based medicines, are in high demand due to increasing prosperity and a government initiative to breed animals for traditional medicine. The success of the snake trade has transformed Zixiqiao from a once poor village into a relatively prosperous community. Not many people wonder exactly what substances in sewers look like. In this video, you can see that it doesn't look pretty, and what's more, it looks like something's alive. I hope you're not eating while watching this video. Half goat and half human should be something you only see in movies. But people who found this thinks it's a cursed mutant devil. What you see here was captured on a farm in the Philippines. The story goes like this. The mother goat allegedly gave birth to twins. While the first goat baby looked perfectly normal, the second had an appearance similar to that of a human. Unfortunately, we couldn't find if this story's true. But do you think it's possible? Let me know in the comments. Two sisters from St. Thomas in the US Virgin Islands initially thought they had found parts of a meteorite in their backyard. It was thought that years before, an ancient meteorite had splattered apart not far from their location. However, the meteorite was never found, but while digging in their backyard, they found a mysterious object. Some experts claim it was just a piece of glass, and that the story was made up. You may be surprised to learn that not only do rats and alligators live in sewers, but so do people. More than 100 people were discovered living in the Las Vegas sewer system. Of course, this is not the best life, but this is how they managed to survive after the 2008 financial crisis. Could you live in the sewers if you had to? Let me know in the comments. The seemingly ordinary backyard of Liam Ward has turned into an extraordinary discovery that has captured the imagination of archaeologists and history enthusiasts. It all began with the unearthing of a mysterious buried chain, leading to a network of underground tunnels and secret rooms dating back to the Prohibition era. Driven by curiosity, Liam decided to investigate further after discovering the chain on a Saturday morning. As he researched the history of the area, he uncovered intriguing stories of disused mines, rumors of buried pirate treasure, and the use of tunnels for smuggling alcohol. His investigation led him to a newspaper article from the 1920s describing the infamous gangster Vincent the Snake Moretti, who was reportedly hiding a valuable collection of jewelry and money before he disappeared without a trace. Fascinated by the possibility of discovering a piece of history, Ward enlisted the help of local historians and seasoned treasure hunters. Together, they formed a dedicated team, armed with metal detectors and a wealth of historical knowledge, that converged on Liam's property. With careful excavation, a collection of wooden crates emerged, bearing Moretti's unmistakable signature. Inside the crates lay a treasure trove of Prohibition-era alcohol, preserved and untouched for decades. Sometime in 2016, a very rare marble statue was found in the north of Ordu, Turkey, on the Black Sea coast. Like many of the finds we talked about in this video, the statue was found by chance during excavations. It was the first time something extremely significant had been found in Turkey. In fact, what they found was a 2,100-year-old statue of Cybele, the mother goddess of Anatolia. The statue is about 110 centimeters high, and it weighs about 200 kilograms. The mother goddess of Anatolia is sitting on her throne, and it's safe to say that the ancient artifact is well preserved, especially considering that it's over 2,000 years old. Archaeologists were therefore very proud of finding this important artifact, especially since it was discovered in its original location in Turkey. Charles Pole, a retired man from Wiveliscombe, a small town in England, was surprised one day when he discovered a 13th century episcopal palace in his backyard. When he hired workers for a construction project, no one had any idea what was under the ground. The ancient building was thought to have been lost, but the palace's remains reportedly represent at least 2 phases of the city's development, and it was unknown until now how the structure had disappeared. If you've never heard of the Steamboat Arabia, then you'll find this an interesting story. The Steamboat of Arabia was a huge ship that carried some 180 tons of mysterious cargo, or as many believe, enormous treasures. However, on September 5th of the year 1856, the ship sank in the US Missouri River. Since then, treasure hunters have been determined to find the Arabia, but it wasn't until 1988, 132 years later, that the steamer was found. Months of excavation went into it, and it was all worth it, as the Arabia is said to have brought back the largest collection of artifacts in the world from before the American Civil War. Fortunately, most of the materials were well preserved, and are now kept at the Arabia Steamboat Museum. A jet fighter is buried in the backyard of an art gallery in the Czech capital Prague. This was done in February of 2017 to symbolize the end of an era. The British artist Roger Hjorns and some other experts had buried the jet fighter deep underground, which took about 3 days. There is a big chance that when this plane is forgotten, that someone will find it in the distant future. And it'll be interesting what that person will think of it. Nowadays, archaeologists find old lost cities from the Middle Ages, or extinct animal bones. But whoever will find this fighter jet will probably be under the impression or not. Of course, that depends on how advanced the technology is by that time when the fighter jet is discovered. An event known as the Wild Boar Hunt with an Abundant Harvest took place near Prague in the Czech Republic during December 2022. An advertisement showed an image of what appeared to be dozens of wild boars lying on the ground. Wild boar hunting is popular in the country due to the high population of wild boars and the damage they can cause to agricultural crops. This wild boar hunt in the Czech Republic can take various forms, including collective hunts and individual hunts. In collective hunts, a group of hunters works together to drive the boars toward the waiting hunters. Individual hunts, on the other hand, typically involve waiting at a strategic location until the boars approach. Regarding the impact on populations, wild boar hunting can help manage their numbers and limit the damage they cause to crops. The Czech Republic has seen an increase in the number of wild boars over the years, indicating the need for population control. It's no wonder so many people are afraid of clowns. It seems that after the movie It was released, that more and more people try to avoid clowns. It's already scary when you encounter a clown on the street, but this YouTuber comes across a scary clown in a sewer, and it looks very much like the clown from the movie. One day while grazing in his parents' pasture in eastern Kenya, a farmer stumbled upon a real World War II bomb. It was believed that the bomb was left behind during the war, or that local soldiers used it during training when they occupied the area in the 1990s. However, the village was not too happy about this discovery. And by the way, this was not the first time a bomb was discovered on a farm. The retired couple from Eastern Australia was shocked when out of nowhere a giant sinkhole appeared in their backyard and began to fill with tons of water. It seems no one knew how it was created, and it's sometimes hard to predict how big the hole might get over time. However, if you look from above, you'll be surprised at how gigantic the sinkhole is, as the hole covers almost the entire backyard. Here we have the result of people being reckless with what they flushed down the toilet. We're not sure exactly what caused this explosion, but a sewer exploded in the middle of the road in the Canadian city of Calgary. Again, think twice before flushing anything down the toilet. In an exciting video that has taken the internet by storm, a farmer finds himself in a truly remarkable encounter with nature. As he navigates through the calm waters with his tractor, he has no idea that a potentially dangerous confrontation awaits him. He drives through the water on his tractor, seemingly unaware of the impending danger lurking beneath the surface. Suddenly, with a burst of adrenaline-inducing energy, a colossal crocodile leaps from the depths and lands on the tractor's spinning wheel. The enormous size of the crocodile is enough to send chills down anyone's spine. However, the reptile quickly realizes its mistake as it feels the immense force of the spinning wheel under its formidable weight. In a moment of instinctual survival, the crocodile hastily jumps off the spinning wheel and retreats into the water from which it came. Another scary and dangerous thing that can be found in the sewers is a hand grenade. In fact, one was found in India while excavating a sewer. It turned out that the hand grenade was made in 1948, and the clearance service was sent to the site to defuse the discovery. You've heard of the king rat, but what about the squirrel king? Although it rarely happens, squirrels can get their tails tied together in the same way. As you can see here, when they're in a tree or a group of 5 on the ground, this happens after they have spent months or considerable time in their nest. You can imagine how dangerous it is to achieve the status of king. This is because the squirrels are unable to find food, hide from predators, and are in danger of being injured. When you start digging for the installation of a swimming pool, you don't normally expect to find an ancient cemetery, right? However, as the digging began, several coffins were found at the bottom of the ground. The coffins were from the 1700-year-old St. Peter's Cemetery in a French quarter of New Orleans. The property had been built on one of the city's first cemeteries. The property owner was aware of the site, so he hired archaeologists to help install the pool. Even though there was an opportunity to find a cemetery, it still shocked everyone when they actually found it. We may live in a modern society now, but some people continue to do stupid things. In South Carolina recently, thousands of pounds of baby wipes were found, and the sewers were completely clogged with them. It just proves once again that we have to be careful what we flush down the toilet. Milan is one of the most beautiful cities in Italy, and it also has a unique atmosphere of art. We all love mysterious and unusual places, and an Italian artist decided to surprise people with a unique art project. Moreover, this project also solves a social problem. The artist wanted to draw people's attention to hundreds of homeless people living in the city, so he created 3 secret rooms in the manholes in Milan. The project is called Border Life, and each room has its own decoration that looks different. For example, one room is made as a small part of the bathroom, another room is a miniature kitchen, and the third room looks like a living room. The city of Augsburg in southern Germany was shocked by terrifying news on Christmas morning of 2016, when a group of construction workers found an unexploded World War II bomb. It weighed an incredible 1.8 tons, which caused an excavation zone of about 1.5 kilometers to be created. Augsburg was one of the German cities heavily bombed during the war, so it's not surprising that something like this was found underground. Experts say that it must have come from a 1944 air raid. However, this was not the first time such a discovery was made. In December of 2011, about 45,000 people had to be evacuated from Koblenz when 2 bombs were found in the Rhine River. Also in May 2015, thousands of Cologne residents were evacuated for the same reason. However, the bomb found in Augsburg caused as many as 54,000 people to be evacuated. Fortunately, the police managed to get everything under control and the object was safely removed. A man named John Sims bought a new house somewhere in Tucson, a town in the American state of Arizona, in July of 2019. When he bought the house, the previous owner told him that there was a big secret hidden under the ground in the backyard, but that he had never been able to find it himself. John was fascinated by this and decided to dig with a shovel in different places, but he found nothing. He then decided to ask for municipal records which showed that something had been built in 1961. He hired some professional people, and together they managed to find some kind of a hatch that ended up in the huge spot underground. Eventually, it turned out to be a nuclear concrete bunker, with shelters that were used in the Cold War between America and the Soviet Union. 2 farmers in Bahia, Brazil were exploring their land when they unexpectedly encountered a giant creature trying to burrow into the ground. The enormous size of the creature astonished them. Giant armadillos, the largest species of armadillos, are distinguished by their unique appearance and behavior, measuring up to 5 feet in length and weighing about 132 pounds. They have a distinctive armored shell consisting of bony plates known as scutes, covering their head, back, and tail. Giant armadillos are native to Central and South America and are particularly found in parts of Brazil, Paraguay, Bolivia, and Argentina. They primarily inhabit tropical rainforests, grasslands, and savannas. However, due to habitat loss and hunting, their range has become fragmented. Unfortunately, giant armadillos are considered vulnerable due to various threats, including habitat destruction, hunting, and road accidents. How would you react if you encountered this gigantic animal on your farm? Let me know in the comments. The man in this video looks very scary, and it looks like he's been living in the sewers for years. A journalist was tipped off and decided to look for the man in the sewer. As you can see, he's completely covered in dirt, and all the strange man said was that his name was Ratman. If you never want to run into this man, definitely don't go into the sewers. Eric Howard, a farmer in Colorado, USA, put his life on the line to uniquely put an end to a wildfire that had broken out on a field near Weld County. This fire had destroyed about 30 acres of an 80-acre hayfield. The farmer, however, had a brilliant idea. A few feet from the flames, he drove his tractor to dig a fire line. Spectators held their breath and watched as the farmer chased the fire and cut off the road, saving the rest of the hayfield. According to some people, treasures can also be cursed, and it seems that a gardener who found a bag filled with $150,000 is one of the biggest examples of that. Wayne Sabaj died 2 days after he found the treasure while picking broccoli. The money was to be divided between him and his neighbor, in whose territory the money was found, but she too died mysteriously after the find was discovered. No one knows the origin of the money, and many people think that this is why the money is therefore cursed. At first, it looks like this huge rat could be real, but if you look closer, you understand that it's just a toy, or probably a giant statue of a rat. Either way, it's hard to explain exactly how it ended up in the sewer, but it'll probably take people a long time to clean it up. In May 2018, a rancher near the town of Denton encountered a mysterious creature that prompted him to shoot it as it approached his livestock from a few hundred meters away. Wildlife experts were called in to investigate, but were unable to definitively identify the species. After examining the creature, they ruled out the possibility that it was a wolf due to its unusually short teeth, abnormally small forelimbs, and disproportionately large claws. Speculation and bizarre theories quickly spread online, suggesting that the creature could be a werewolf or even a relative of Bigfoot. However, a press release came out that responded to these theories, stating that the creature was a young, non-lactating female canid. A canid belongs to the dog family, including dogs, foxes, coyotes, and wolves. The researchers, however, acknowledged certain peculiarities about the creature, such as its oversized ears, slightly shorter legs, small feet, and unusual fur, leading them to admit that there was something undeniably unusual about it. Others are convinced that it could be a dire wolf, a dog man, or a chupacabra, creatures straight out of mythology. Another thing that was found not too long ago was discovered in Taizhou in eastern China by construction workers. The workers were shocked when they happened to come across a mummified body. And yes, it indeed turned out to be a mummy that was about 700 years old. And it came from the Ming dynasty, which ruled China from 1368 to 1644. According to scientists, the Ming dynasty was one of the greatest and most powerful in history that ruled China for nearly 3 centuries. Scientists were extremely surprised by the remarkably good condition of the mummy. The skin, hair, and face still looked good, and the woman even had eyelashes. Also, the clothing the woman wore had not deteriorated over the years. From time to time, gold is sometimes found under the ground. But when archaeologists were excavating a gold mine in the Chinese city of Xinjiang, they came across no less than 18 holes containing 3,000 tombs. What they discovered in some of the tombs were more than 100 horse skeletons and chariots. According to experts, the tombs with horses and chariots belong to a noble family and date from around the year 770 to 221 BC. Several bronze objects were also found in the burial pit, strengthening the suspicion that the tomb indeed belonged to a noble family. According to archaeologists, discoveries like this not only give a picture of the social status of an era, but also the technology of the time. In July of 2019, a woman found something frightening in her backyard in the Australian city of Brisbane. She had just moved to an older house and was planning to renovate her backyard. What she found looked like a ceramic pot with a small coffin nailed on top. The woman had no idea what it had been, but when she posted it on the internet, many people said it was an object of a witch and that it was probably cursed. The people in the responses told her that it would be better if she buried it or burned it again. She had hired someone to clean the place of evil spirits. The woman decided a few days later to contact the previous homeowner so that the mystery could be solved, and was finally resolved. The ceramic pot would have been made by her son for a school project and got lost in her backyard. In northeastern Egypt, a farmer came across a carved sandstone slab believed to have been placed during the reign of Pharaoh Apries about 2,600 years ago. This standing stone, known as a stele, measures an impressive 91 inches in length and 41 inches in width. It is adorned with an image of a winged sun disk and Egyptian hieroglyphs representing Apres. It likely served as a gravestone or symbol of dedication, commemoration, and demarcation. Within the stele, 15 lines of hieroglyphs are inscribed, presenting a fascinating challenge for experts involved in their translation. Apries, also known as Wahibre Hibre in Hebrew, reigned as the fourth monarch of the 26th dynasty from about 589 to 570 BC. This campaign mentioned in the stele's inscription may relate to the conflict in Jerusalem or possibly a civil war within Egypt. The ancient Greek historian Herodotus described a coup against Apries, with General Amasis being declared pharaoh, leading to a failed attempt by Apries to regain power. Apries ruled during Egypt's late period from 664 to 332 BC, over 2,000 years after the construction of the pyramids of Giza and more than 200 years before the arrival of Alexander the Great. Historians primarily rely on accounts from Herodotus and the Torah to compile information about Apries, as few artifacts from his reign in Lower Egypt have been discovered. While many people don't even think about going into the sewers, more than hundreds of people decided to party in a sewer. The party was held in Newcastle, England, under bridges, and the police ended up investigating. More than 200 people entertained in the dirt, and they stayed there until the morning. Could you believe that? If you're ever unlucky, remember that one day you can also get lucky just like this man. A farmer from India received the best gift of his life. In fact, he found a pot of gold. And not just any small pot, but one that weighed a whopping 11 pounds or 5 kilograms. To be sure, the pot was sent to the authorities to be examined. They confirmed it and made the farmer a very rich person. A woman named Lisa Marie had just moved into a new house, and she was intrigued by the manhole cover in her backyard that showed no marks. The woman decided to check it out, and what she discovered there was a World War II bunker. The bunker was full of rubble, and together with experts, they managed to get inside. There are two theories about the bunker. The first is that the bunker was some kind of shelter for a group of factory workers, or that it was a shelter for soldiers. Have you ever seen a giant grease mountain made of oil and baby wipes? At an astonishing 210 feet and 64 meters long? We'll show you. This huge mass was blocking a sewer in the southwest of England. And it does indeed look super weird, and probably smells really bad too. The Camden Catacombs is a very mysterious and interesting find that was discovered under the Camden Markets in London. It's a series of underground passageways that were built in the 19th century. Today, this place is owned by Network Rail, but in the past, the catacombs originally served as stables for horses and mining ponies working in the railroads. Even though they're called catacombs, they were never actually used to bury people. But something else special had been found. In fact, there's an underground pool that was used for the boats of the Regans Canal, because the catacombs are close to the canal and therefore also at risk of flooding. Because the catacombs are close to the canal and therefore also at risk of flooding. If you want to visit the catacombs themselves, you can, but you won't find much. You can only see the main line of the tunnels because the catacombs themselves are not really safe to visit due to risk of flooding. Researchers say that about 500 meteorites hit the Earth every year. Fortunately, the Earth is an incredibly large place, and 70% of these are oceans. So the chances of a meteorite actually hitting your home are incredibly small. But a man claims that 6 meteorites have hit his house since 2007. The Serbian man lives in a small village north of Bosnia, and even thinks he's become the target of aliens, and that they're playing games on him. The man sold some of the meteorites, and people from all over the world came by who were interested in the strange event. The latest news I found is that scientists are trying to find out if his backyard has magnetic fields that made this happen so often. Something remarkable happens in Central Europe from time to time, especially during the onset of summer with unusually hot and dry weather. This is because from the dried up streams and rivers, historical stones emerge with messages engraved on them. These stones are called hunger stones. Between the 15th and 19th centuries, ethnic Germans are said to have placed hunger memorial stones in the rivers. These stones served as markers and warnings of the constant drop in the water levels. The Elbe River in the Czech Republic has many of these so-called hunger stones. When one pops up, it means that drought is coming and people will experience another wave of hunger. Hence the term hunger stone. The messages are often short and clear, but also alarming and frightening. One stone read, "When you see me, cry." Another read, "We cried and you will cry." The Red Gate area near Deer Lodge has built a reputation as a hotspot for paranormal and UFO activity. This place is widely known for the government's acknowledgement of the existence of mysterious objects in the sky that scientists cannot explain. Residents of Montana have been witnessing these phenomena for years, with Montana ranking among the top 5 states with the highest UFO sightings. The region is rich in paranormal activity, with reports of unexplained lights in the sky and other unexplainable phenomena. People have reported extraordinary objects suddenly flying through the sky and appearing out of nowhere. Moreover, there are stories of people in the area experiencing their cars suddenly stalling without apparent reason. Donald Bromley from Deer Lodge shared his personal experience with paranormal activity in the Red Gate area. 2 years ago, he set up a trail camera and captured an eerie ghost-like figure that caught the attention of paranormal investigators across the country. The captured image showed features consistent with the typical image of an alien, with a larger bulbous head and a transparent appearance. Legends surrounding the Red Gate area add to its eerie reputation. According to local stories, there was once a tragic incident where a man came home from work, murdered his entire family, and painted their gate red with their blood. Have you ever found anything on a farm? Let me know in the comments. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos we've made, click one on the screen or take a look at the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.